Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Crotchety Old Men Podcast. I'm Gary Smith, the co host of the show, and joining me today is my partner and my friend and co host, George Crumley. Top of the day to you, George.
Top of the day to you, Smitty. You keep giving me more titles every time we jump on this thing, man. You keep elevating me. What's going on?
Hey, man, it's the elevation, man. That's the word for the day elevation. We
Oh,
edify each other, lift
all
each
right.
other up. All
There
right.
we go.
Yeah,
There we
we're gonna
go.
diffuse that old crab in the barrel mentality. We're here to lift each other up. And so that's what we do on the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Man, I'm so excited today, man. I know we got an incredible young man waiting for us in the studio. But before I say anything else, George, tell me something good, man.
Well, it's all good, Smitty. Anytime we get up in the morning, we can see the dust on the ceiling fan. It's all good. Everything's gravy after that. So we just want to keep making it happen. Like you said today, man, we got a super guest, Rich Gross on. It's it's important. We're the crotchety old men, but it's so important and it's so inspirational. We can have some young guys on that are kind of carrying on this same kind of thrust that we're trying to do from a financial perspective, trying to lift people up. And today's no different. Rich comes to us. I met him at a great event, and he caught my eye. He had a book. It was called the Freeman's Journal. And we're going to talk to Rich a little bit more about that. But it caught my eye. I bought one for my grandson, and he's 16. I thought it would be something to really get him going as he his next step into college. So, but here again, without further ado, Rich, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. How goes it, y'all?
It goes good, man. It goes good. So tell the our listeners a little bit about yourself. I know you're a Morehouse man. Tell them something else
Yeah.
about yourself.
In addition to being a Morehouse man, I am an entrepreneur. I got this journal thing going on. Also, I'm a musician. So that's what I do in addition to this endeavor with the journal. So
Okay, good
yeah.
stuff. What instruments do you play, or do you sing?
Um, I wish I could sing. So no, I don't sing, but I play bass guitar. And I play
All
drums.
right.
Yep. hmm
Yeah, you got it. All right. One last question on the music tip before we get back to the journal. Who's your
All
favorite
right.
bass player?
I don't have a single favorite bass player. I have favorite bass players. Everybody brings something different to the table. But one of the ones that I grew up kind of copying note for note, just when I was learning, is a guy named Justin Raines. He's actually out of Atlanta, and he plays for a group called Israel the New Breed.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
for sure. Oh yeah,
hmm
all right.
hmm
I've certainly heard him play.
Yep.
Okay, well let's dive right into it. This free man's journal. I like the
hmm
title of it already.
hmm
So where did you get this idea to create the free man's journal?
The idea came from personally. I know I have a lot of ideas, right? And I never assume that I'm just the only one dealing with things. That it keeps me grounded, keeps me humble. So I know I have a lot of ideas, and I wrote them all out. And when it was time to get like one together to like start executing on it or whatever, I'd have to search through a whole bunch of different pieces of paper, strung about everywhere, chicken scratch here, chicken scratch there, unreadable. So it'd be an effort just to consolidate my notes and into something that I can execute upon. So I figured, what if I could create a system that is basically an ideation process that will take you through the creation of a business plan? What if I could put that into a system that lets you take each idea that you might have that might come along as like you're walking outside or doing something, or as you encounter something and you say, hey, I could fix that. What if I could create a system where you can take each idea, catalog it, index it, right? And then when you're ready to execute on that idea, you don't have to do no searching. You can just go to a different section in the book and develop that idea into a basic business plan without having a business education. I want this to be accessible to everybody.
One of the things that I saw, which kind of caught my eye, also when I read, it said Freeman's Journal: Business Ideas for Social Change. Let's
Right.
talk a little bit about that. Why did you use that as a subtitle? Tell us how that.
So that's tied into the name of the book. Um, when I'm out vending and meeting different people and talking about the book, once they hear the title, they think that it's, for men. It's not. This is for mankind. The Freeman's Journal is named after the Freedmen's Bureau. Um, for the listeners that might not know what the Freedmen's Bureau is, the Freedmen's Bureau was an organization put in place by President Abraham Lincoln in 1865 after the Emancipation Proclamation was made law, thus ending the Civil War as we know. The organization was tasked with assisting newly freed slaves and refugees, aka displaced people from the war, into getting an equal footing in society. 40 acres and a mule, educational institutions, all that stuff. It had some effectiveness, but largely due to the powers that be, basically America was being America, their efforts were stifled. And the organization was not renewed after 5 years. The blatant opposition to black advancement in America can still be seen today. There's no reason why the most impoverished areas in America are comprised of us. You know, there's no reason why our communities have these have certain disadvantages and drawbacks to living in them. You know what I mean? That seem to be institutional. This is based off the idea, well, especially when people like us. If you look around the world, culturally, we have our fingerprints everywhere. Everybody, everything looks to Black Americans for culture. Yet, and not just any culture. This is capital generating, capital moving culture. Off of our ideas, off of our funk. You know what I mean? But when you come over here and look at our neighborhoods, like I said, you really wouldn't be able to tell. So this journal, this book, is to ensure that people who look like you and I, at least, can make some money from our good ideas instead of having everybody, pick off of us and try to not give us credit.
Mm. I think part of that problem, as you laid out, comes from our exposure. Idea is one thing, but execution is something else. And so many times we have these ideas without any execution, without any processes in place, and therefore they fall into those statistics that where 95% or 90% of businesses fail within the first 1 to 3 years, primarily because one of lack of capital, other two is lack of information, and the other one is lack of management. I found out that statistics have proven that majority of black businesses, well, I shouldn't say majority, but a lot of them, they fail. They may have a good idea, but they fail because of lack of execution and poor management. So, does the journal help people? I mean, ideas, and I'm not being pejorative about the ideas at all, but you heard the old adage, ideas are like a dime a dozen, right? So, what changes an idea into a reality?
Uh, I think what changes the idea into reality. I think regardless of the outcome of the business, whether it fails or whether it succeeds or whether kind of just stays like that, um, I think regardless of the outcome, the first step into an idea becoming reality is writing it down. And that's biblical too. Habakkuk. I forget the actual verse, but it's biblical. Write it down. That forces things from the realm of dream and imagination into reality. That's the first step, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. What gets written gets remembered. So and that's Habakkuk. Yep. So you're spot on with that. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to add to that. I mean, one of the things that we often do when we get together is in a group, we don't talk about sports. We normally talk about how do we uplift our community so that we can take these steps forward. And I'm just interested to know from Rich's point of view, what do you see as some of the steps that we can take to continue to uplift and bring our folks to the next level? Because what we see is like you say, this generational thing. We don't see generational wealth. We see just the opposite. Whatever the parents are doing, the kids are doing, they're going in the opposite direction. We're not seeing that growth out there that we want to share, and that we should be seeing. I know there's a lot of different programs out there to try to educate, Black folks as far as, financial literacy and things like that. But just curious, as from your perspective, what are some of the things that we can do, or maybe one or two of the things that we can do to help uplift our community, our circle of influence?
Don't don't criticize or beat up on somebody, just because they're doing something that you don't think you can do. Really be introspective and be like, man, am I just hating? Or do I actually care about this person, or do I actually want to see them succeed, even though I don't get their idea, even though I don't understand their idea, they're passionate about it. So you know what? If that makes them happy, let me just go ahead.
Yeah,
Let me just go ahead and
absolutely.
support
Absolutely. Support. We need to up, like
them.
George said earlier in the
Right.
program. And that's what we're here for, to support each other, lift each other up. Go ahead, Rich.
If I can add to that, right? Um, it seems like a lot of the time in our community, there's only certain things that are accepted. Like you get respect if you can fight. You get respect if you can ball. You get respect if you can sing. You get respect if you can rap. You don't get respect if you like a bird watcher. You know. But if that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you happy. And you can get really, really good at that, and you can make money from that too. I feel like in certain regards, there's a lot of closed mindedness in our community or whatever. Um, yeah, we don't want to be seen as lame. We don't want to be seen as weak, and I can understand that because it's war out here for us. It's always been. We can't be seen as weak. Um, but yeah, I think a shift kind of needs to take place. You can like watching anime still, but still know how to protect yours. They're not mutually exclusive. They can exist in the same space. So I hope I made sense.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hit a good point, and that's kind of what we do here on the Crotchety Old Men, as far as providing information, education, and exposure. Because there's so many different things that so many people are doing, and it's not like you say, it's not the cookie cutter approach to just A, B, and C. They're actually doing, that everybody expects you to do. But we've brought on some unique guests that are doing things, like you. I think that's something you're doing something different. And that's what we try to find. I mean, the Freeman's Journal, that's something different. And what we've kind of encouraged at the beginning of the program is the fact, like you said, by writing it down, commits it to memory, and it puts you in a situation where you can see. And that's one of the things that I always encourage people to do. You got an idea, write it down. You got things to do, write it down. You got a plan, write it down, because now you can see and you can reflect back to it. So, on that same note, can you talk about maybe some of the success that you've seen since you rolled out the Freeman's Journal? How has it been perceived in your community? And of course, when I say your community, I mean just the people that you have come in contact with. I saw you diligently at I believe it was a art festival that we met at. I think it was a concert and an art festival, and you had your table, so I know you're meeting a lot of people and you're expanding your circle and your community. So, how has this been received?
It's been received positively, and I'll say it's humbling, rewarding at the same time because this is something that I came up with, I put together, and I took a leap on. So yeah, the reception has been positive. I think the success is the fact that people are actively using it. Sometimes I get pictures and messages of people really using that journal how it's supposed to be used. I'm talking about line on top of line. I'm talking like people really diving in there and getting their ideas out. I haven't had any negative feedback yet, but I do know that nothing's perfect. So and any way I can improve it, I'm open to that. So yeah, it's been pretty cool.
Man, see, that's the key right there. You nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Being open to criticism. The
Mm-hmm.
criticism can be good if it's delivered properly,
Right.
okay, and not from a shady position or someone hating on you. All right.
Right.
If you want to criticize someone, offer them a suggestion that's going to improve it. Okay,
Right.
otherwise we keep their mouth off of you. You understand what I'm saying? So
Right.
unless a person's going to help you, shut up.
Right.
Okay, because it's not I mean, it's not helpful criticism. But
Right.
if you have something that's useful and you have something that people are using that's going to change someone's life, and that's why I've asked you earlier about, okay, once they got that idea there, I'm assuming that there's a business plan, some type of template that will help the uneducated person, put their, what's the cost is going to be to launch this business if that's what their plan is, if that's what their goal is. All right.
Mm-hmm.
What are the steps by way that you can take your idea to fruition? Some
Mm-hmm.
people need guidance and stuff like that, and their journals and their roadmaps, if you will. What is your idea going to look like once it's completed?
Mm-hmm.
With the end in mind. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How much is it going to cost to launch your idea? Who's it going to help? What this idea? Most businesses are created to make a person's life better, faster, or easier.
Mm-hmm.
How does my ideal address either one of those three situations? And so, if you got something there like that,
Mm-hmm.
whereas that the layperson can write their idea down, and like
Mm-hmm.
it says in the Bible, make that vision plain, and
Mm-hmm.
where others can run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can explain their idea, the profitability or the monetization of that idea to someone else who may come and help them launch it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I
Mm-hmm.
think you're on the right track in regards to having something like this, man, where people can get this free man journey. Because you know that by owning businesses, we had a podcast just the other week about buying or owning your own business. That is
Mm-hmm.
the pathway to freedom, regardless. Because the only doggone thing we look for from a job is what? An income. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. If a job didn't pay you an income, you wouldn't need it, right? So when you
Mm-hmm.
buy a business, that's what you're buying, an income. So if this journal will help people free their families, free their generations, free their lives by being a slave to somebody else building their business
Mm-hmm.
rather than build their own, then brother, I commend you and salute you 1,000%.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So let's talk about, let's
Thank you.
kind of open it up for our audience. What are some of the questions or statements that are in the journal that kind of take them down that business path?
The journal follows a formula of why, how, and why you. So why being, why is this idea necessary? I don't know about y'all, but there are a lot of copycat businesses out here. People doing the same thing as everybody else, cannibalizing their shares, and not not really doing much outside of just having a business. Like if you're gonna do a business, don't just copy somebody else because you know it can make you some money. Like just anyway, these are just my opinions. You know, uh, but why? Why is your idea needed? Like, what good is it going to bring the world? Why should you bring another idea like this into the world if an idea like this already exists? Like, what's going to make you different? How is okay? Like, how much does it cost to provide service to one person? What do you guys need to make that happen? How, like, where, how are you going to let people know about this idea? You know, how are people going to find out about your idea? How are people going to buy? Where can they buy from? And then you get into your why you, which is talking about your competitive advantages and stuff and your disadvantages, getting you to getting you to do like a a general analysis of your standing in the potential market that you want to go into with this idea. You know, like why are you the best person to execute this idea? Why aren't you the best person to execute this idea? What outside of capital, what what things do you have going for you that will make this easy for you? And if you have certain obstacles, what can we do to get around them? And then each section ends by, okay, these are the steps. Like write out the best you can in the steps that you need to take to execute your idea. And I sell pencils with this journal, and multiple times in the journal I say use a pencil because as your idea grows and as it changes, you're gonna have to erase and keep on writing again.
You mentioned about Copycat businesses. Well, I got a little
Yeah.
mention about that. Ain't nothing wrong with being a copycat as long as you copying the right cat. All right.
Yeah.
Hell, Apple, Mont Bell, and all the rest of them copied Alexander Graham Bell. DTE Energy, they copied Edison. So you understand. So when you're looking at other businesses, they're just an example. You use them as a template. All right. And so, therefore, if
Mm-hmm.
a business is already existing and establishing, that's why I teach a lot of black folk. Hell, if you want to, I mean, like journals, heck, you're not the first one to create a journal. There's
Mm-hmm.
companies out there got all kind of journals up the wazoo. So the question becomes, what makes your journal different? See,
Exactly.
there you go.
Exactly. And
Yeah, let's talk about.
that's what I'm talking about right there. Don't copy somebody note for note for note. It's like there's already somebody doing that. Add your own funk to it. You know what I mean? Add your spin to it. You know, like it innovate.
Yeah.
What I'm talking.
So what's next
That's
for
what we.
the Freeman? What's next for the Freeman's Journal? Where do you like to see it next? What's the next step?
Um, Currently I'm starting to give workshops. Um, so yeah, I'm looking to work with some educational institutions, looking to work with some mentorship programs, to yeah give workshops about basically what the journal is about, like taking your idea and developing it into an idea, a business plan, and testing the viability of said plan.
So what it sounds like you're trying to do is actually add some steps for people to follow to get to the next step once they start developing these ideas. You're gonna kind of put some, as I say, put some meat on the bone. So if they come up with an
Right.
idea and they've got the how, why, and when kind of stuff, but then you're gonna say this is how you go to the next step. Workshops like that. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah. Workshops on how to use the journal. But yeah, workshops on that possibly too. There is a consulting arm coming to this business. Um, yeah, so we'll see. Also next year for Juneteenth, I have a festival that I'm putting together called the Atlanta Juneteenth Business Festival, where I'm going to be inviting um, not just a bunch of black businesses, businesses that are doing things like just different kind of stuff, you know, just to just to show to the world really, that we're more than just X, Y, and Z. We are way more talented than what is portrayed of us in the media. You know, the type of thing that's being fed to people about us. You know.
Well, we can participate in our own rescue, my brother, by
Hmm.
telling our own story. And the
Hmm.
best way to do that is massive success.
Hmm.
Okay, in our communities, own them,
Hmm.
dominate. All right, in our
Hmm.
community, in our businesses, own them, operate. So that's the
Hmm.
best way to convey the message to anybody. You want to get
Hmm.
somebody's attention, do well, do exceedingly abundantly above all that you can ask or think. All right.
Hmm.
So that's what we are
That's,
about
that's
the crotchety old men's, helping each other, lifting each other, making you stronger. Okay. Being a warrior instead of a whiner. All right.
right.
And pointing fingers at somebody else and stopping, not letting you, allowing you. Hey, forget
Hmm.
that. Who's going to stop me? That's
Right.
got to be the attitude. That's got to be the
Right.
mantra. Who's going to
Right.
stop me from doing what I want to do? Not allow me or let me. So it's
Right.
changing the mindset. So hopefully there's a space in that journal where people can change their mindset. Okay, stop whining, stop complaining, start using the gift that God gave you to produce what you're supposed to produce. We're here to solve problems, not be
Hmm.
one. If you're not solving problems, you probably are the problem,
Right.
right?
Right.
All
Right.
right, pass it back to George.
Well, just to remind our audience, we've been talking with Rich Gross here, who created a free man's journal. So Rich, tell our audience if they want to get in touch with you, they want to get a copy, they want to follow you to your next event. How would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can hit me up on my website. The website is freemansjournal.us. So that's www.freemansjournal.us. So again, that's freemansjournal.us. Um, my personal email is info@freemansjournal.us. So if you send an email there, it'll come right to me and I respond. Yeah, if you want to order a copy as well, go to the website and yeah, you follow the steps.
Cool. Well, hey, we appreciate you coming on to the show. This has been a very lively discussion. We've learned a lot today about the Freeman's Journal. And for our audience out there, the Crotchet Old Man podcast, we're going to continue to bring you all this information, education, exposure, and opportunity. I think today we've exposed you to something different, something to help you guide you through this idea process of creating a new business for yourself. So as usual, we want to make sure we get some feedback also as to how we're doing. So hit us up at the Crotchety Old Man podcast at gmail.com. Send us information as far as if you like what you're hearing, if you'd like to hear something different. That's the Crotchety Old Man podcast at gmail.com. And as usual, Smitty, what you got to take us home with?
All right. Well, here's a quote that I love is this. Don't spend $1 worth of time for 10 cents worth of results.
Let that sink in for a minute, right?
Go,
Let that
amen to
sink
that.
in.
Let that sink in. Don't spend $1 worth of your time for 10 cents worth of results. All
There
right.
you go, because time is so important. That's probably our
Mm.
most valuable commodity is time. Can't get that
Thank you
back.
very much.
Nope.
So as we always say and end on the Crotchet Old Man, if you didn't know, now you
Now
know.
you know.
Take care.
All right.
Be safe.
Peace. Hi, this is Gary Smith of the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Are you looking for ways to create generational wealth on a passive income basis? Then reach out and grab a copy of my new book, 5 Keys to Creating Passive Income with Commercial Real Estate. It's available now at Amazon.com. Again, that's the 5 Keys to Creating Passive Income with Commercial Real Estate.